Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will show you a complete guide on how to play Nintendo Switch games on a PC using Eden Emulator. If you're not familiar with it, Eden Emulator is a Nintendo Switch emulator based on the Yuzu codebase. It comes with various improvements, including better performance, improved stability, and enhanced game compatibility. In this tutorial, I will guide you through every step, from downloading and installing the emulator to configuring the settings and launching Nintendo Switch games. Before we get started, make sure your PC or laptop meets the minimum system requirements needed to run the emulator properly. For the operating system, Eden Emulator supports Windows 10 and Windows 11, 64-bit versions only. For the processor, the minimum recommended specifications are an Intel Core i5, 4430, or an AMD Ryzen 3, 1200. For the best experience, it is recommended to use an Intel Core i5, 11400, or an AMD Ryzen 5, 3600. For memory, the emulator requires at least 8 GB of RAM. However, for smoother gameplay and better overall performance, 16 GB of RAM is highly recommended. For the graphics card, the minimum recommended GPUs are the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1050 Ti or the AMD Radeon RX 560. For optimal performance, it is recommended to use an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1660, an NVIDIA RTX 3050, or an AMD Radeon RX 5500 XT. Finally, your system must support either Vulkan or OpenGL version 4.6. However, Vulkan is highly recommended because it generally provides better performance in most games. If your PC meets the minimum system requirements, we can move on to the first step. Open your web browser and visit edenemu.dev. This is the official homepage of Eden Emulator. On this page, click the download option in the header menu. You will then be taken to the download page. Here, you will find several platform options based on your operating system. Since we are using Windows in this tutorial, select the Windows option. Next, you will be redirected to the official Eden Emulator GitHub page. On that page, scroll down until you find the Windows section. In the Windows table, select the MSVC version to download the emulator. After that, the download should start automatically. Wait for the file to finish downloading before proceeding to the next step. Next, we need to download the firmware and keys required by the emulator. Open a new tab in your browser and search for Eden Firmware. Then, scroll down and select the website called prodkey.net. Once you open the website, you will be taken to its main page. Scroll down until you find a table containing keys for different firmware versions. Choose the version you want and download the corresponding key file. After that, continue scrolling down until you find the Firmware Download button. Click it to open the Firmware Download page. On the Firmware page, scroll down until you find a table containing multiple firmware versions available for download. Select the firmware version you want and start the download. Before downloading the firmware, there is one important thing to keep in mind. Make sure that the firmware version matches the key version you downloaded earlier, or at least that the version difference is not too large. This is important because a mismatch between the firmware and key versions can cause problems with the emulator, such as games failing to launch, error messages appearing, or other compatibility issues. Once all the required files have been downloaded, the next step is to extract the files we downloaded earlier, including the prod.keys file and the Eden Emulator archive. After the extraction process is complete, open the Eden Emulator folder and double-click eden.exe to launch the emulator. If you have previously installed another Nintendo Switch emulator, such as Yuzu, you may see a pop-up notification like this. If it appears, simply click No, then click OK to continue. Once Eden Emulator starts, a notification will appear asking you to provide your prod.keys file. At this point, click Yes, then navigate to the location where you extracted the prod.keys file. Select the file and click Open. After the file has been loaded successfully, click OK to continue. This is the main interface of Eden Emulator. After adding the prod.keys file, the next step is to install the firmware in Eden Emulator. The firmware is required to help the emulator run Nintendo Switch games properly and ensure compatibility with supported features and games. To install it, click the Tools menu and then select Install Firmware. You will see two options, from folder and from zip. Since the firmware file we downloaded is in zip format, select from zip. Next, navigate to the location where you saved the firmware file. Select the file and click Open. The firmware installation process will begin automatically. Wait for the installation to complete before moving on to the next step. Once the firmware installation is complete, the next step is to add your games to Eden Emulator. Before we continue, it's important to know that Eden Emulator supports two Nintendo Switch game formats, NSP and XCI. To add your games, simply double-click anywhere in the empty area of the main Eden Emulator window. Next, navigate to the folder where your Nintendo Switch game files are stored. Select the folder and click the Select Folder button. Eden Emulator will then scan the selected folder and automatically detect any compatible games it finds. Once the scan is complete, your game library will appear in the main Eden Emulator window and the games will be ready to launch. Before launching a game, you may want to add update data or DLC files to get the latest features, bug fixes, and additional content. If you only have a single update or DLC file to install, the process is very simple. Click the File menu and select Install Files. Next, navigate to the folder where your update or DLC file is stored. Select the file and click Open. A notification window will then appear, as shown on the screen. Simply click the Install button to begin the installation process. Eden Emulator will automatically install the selected update or DLC. Wait for the installation to finish before launching your game. The second method is recommended if you have multiple update or DLC files. With this method, Eden Emulator will automatically scan a folder containing those files, so you do not need to install them one by one like in the first method. To do this, click Emulation and then select Configure. In the Configuration window, open the General tab. Then, under the External Content section, click the Add Directory button. Next, navigate to the folder where you store all of your update and DLC files. Select the folder and click Select Folder. Once the folder has been added, its location will appear in the added directories list. Finally, click OK to save the settings. From now on, Eden Emulator will automatically scan that folder and detect any available updates or DLC whenever you launch a game. To make sure that your update or DLC files have been installed successfully, right-click on the game you want to check and select Configure Game. In the configuration window that appears, you can view a list of all updates and DLCs detected by Eden Emulator. If the update and DLC files you added earlier appear in this list, it means the installation was successful. Next, if you want to add a save file to one of your games, the process is very simple. First, copy the save data you want to use. Then, open Eden Emulator and right-click on the game where you want to add the save data. After that, select Open Save Data Location. You will be taken to the folder where the game's save data is stored. Simply paste the save data that you copied earlier into this folder. If a notification appears as shown on the screen, click Replace to overwrite the existing files. Once the process is complete, the saved data will be automatically detected by Eden Emulator and will be ready to use the next time you launch the game. Finally, we are going to configure a few settings in the emulator. To get started, click the Emulation menu and then select Configure. In the Eden configuration window, under the General, System, and CPU sections, you can leave all settings at their default values. Next, open the Graphics section. For the API option, I recommend using Vulkan, as it generally provides better performance in most games. Under the Device option, select the graphics card or GPU that your PC or laptop is using. For the resolution setting, if your PC is above the minimum system requirements, you can choose a resolution higher than 1x for better image quality. However, if your PC is close to or below the minimum system requirements, it is recommended to keep it at 1x to ensure stable performance. For the VSync option, if your PC has fairly powerful hardware, you can enable VSync on to reduce screen tearing. On the other hand, if your PC has lower specifications and you need extra performance, you can set VSync off. For the window adapting filter option, I recommend using bilinear. In the aspect ratio section, you can choose whichever option best suits your preference. Next, for the anti-aliasing option, if your PC meets or exceeds the minimum system requirements, you can use FXA or SMA to make the game's visuals look smoother. Next, under the full screen mode option, you can choose borderless windowed for easier multitasking and switching between applications. However, if you prefer playing in full screen mode, you can select exclusive full screen. Next, we will move on to the advanced section. For the GPU accuracy option, I recommend selecting balanced, as this setting generally provides a good balance between performance and game compatibility. Next, under anisotropic filtering, if your PC exceeds the minimum system requirements, you can choose a value between 2x and 16x, or even higher, depending on your PC's specifications and performance. However, if your PC is close to or below the minimum system requirements, it is recommended to use automatic or leave it at the default setting to maintain stable performance. For all other settings in the Advanced section, you can leave them at their default settings. Next, open the Extras tab. In this section, you can checklist Enable Asynchronous Presentation. This feature can slightly improve performance by moving frame presentation to a separate CPU thread, allowing games to run more smoothly. You can also checklist Enable Asynchronous Shader Compilation. This feature helps reduce stuttering that may occur when new shaders are being compiled, resulting in a smoother gameplay experience. For the remaining options, you can leave them at their default settings. Next, we will move on to the controllers section. Under the Connected Controller option, select Pro Controller. Then, under the Input Device section, if you are using a keyboard, choose the Keyboard Only option. With this setting, you do not need to manually map the controls, as the emulator will automatically configure the keyboard layout for you. However, if you want to use an external controller, such as an Xbox or PlayStation controller, first connect the controller to your PC or laptop. Once the controller is successfully connected, a new option showing the name of your controller will appear under the Input Device section. Eden Emulator will usually map the buttons automatically for most supported controllers, so in most cases, you will not need to configure the controls manually. Once you have finished configuring all the settings, click the OK button to save your settings. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you in the next tutorial video.